What's up?
Hey guys! Day 24, we're going to talk about your poor children.
Man, they have nothing.
Your poor
Oh,
children.
gosh.
We're going to talk about fostering poverty in our children.
Yes. And
Totally radical.
crazy. What if you wanted to raise your children to be poor?
Hey-o.
Hey, remember we said this with Chastity, you reap what you sow,
Amen.
right? And right now what we're doing in America, and even in American Christianity, is so often we're just trying to sow materialism and consumerism in our children.
Without realizing
it. Guys, it is a seductive culture that we live in. It's just everywhere you go, there's more and more and more and more, and it's like a culture of want and throwaway culture, right? And our Holy Father has spoken about this, just this idea of this throwaway culture where we're just consume, trash, and
that want leading to so much anxiety and so much unrest in their hearts that nothing is ever good enough.
Imagine we're going to reap what we sow, and if we reap a spirit of if we sow a spirit of discontentment, then we're gonna reap a spirit of discontent children. And we want children who are content and grateful, right? We want that disposition of trust, that disposition of gift, that disposition of making a giving, not making a living, to be in our children's heart. And so we find as parents, realistically, that this is a tremendous battle. It's like we actually have to be very proactive and fight for it, like literally fight for it. Even fight for it within our own family, right? Like a child's birthday comes and all of a sudden your whole house is ransacked by birthday presents. Or I remember the first Christmas we had, it was like with a child, it was like, what the heck, what child needs 50 gifts, and we started to really fight with our own in-laws and our own families that we had, guys, we don't want so much. And so just really.
And they had good hearts.
They have good hearts, everyone, because what? Love language, one of the love languages is gift giving, right? Exactly.
And they want to give and they want to give. And it feels so good to get that reaction from our children. But the reality is that while that moment is so good, we want to build saints for lifelong happiness, not the momentary happiness of opening up a passing worldly pleasure.
And I know you've all been there where one of your kids opens up a gift that they already have, and it's like, what the heck? Now we've run out of things to give kids. We're just giving them multiple of the same thing. Guys,
we encourage them to start these collections.
Yeah, oh yes, collection. You need 50 of the same exact. Guys, we just need to stop. We need to stop. And you as parents need to fight, right? You need to teach your children this isn't the way Christians live. It's not. It's not the way we live. And you need to teach your extended families it's not the way we're going to live. And it's hard. No, be a jerk about it. Be a jerk about it.
It's hard.
It is. And so we want to just share a few habits. We have the habits in the book. We have a few other habits. You want to share a few?
Yeah, so on the topic of holidays, something really that's been super special for us is our St. Nicholas Day tradition. So as some of you might know, St. Nicholas Day is on December 6th, so it comes just weeks before Christmas, and it's right there in the first week of Advent, in which we are to be preparing our hearts for the coming of our one true treasure, Jesus Christ. And so something we've had our kids do is they take their big trash bag into I want to buy them Santa bags.
It's kind of like Santa bag, yeah.
It's supposed to be a Santa bag, right? Yeah. So they take their Santa bag down into their basement playroom, and they are to collect a few toys that they're no longer playing with to give to the poor. And what our kids do is they leave their bag at the fireplace, and St. Nicholas comes and he takes those toys to the poor children. And then he leaves them, fills their shoe with golden coins and oranges and one small gift. We try to choose the one small gift from St. Nicholas that encourages them in their small V vocation, right? Like something that we see them, their gifts, their talents that they're growing in. And St. Nicholas leaves an encouraging note, thanking them for being generous. One year was so beautiful. We adopted a family through a local parish. They were redoing bedrooms on the west side of Columbus. And we were able to take part in that. And lucky us, we got to decorate a nursery. So the mom shared what she wanted for the nursery. I took the kids down to the store and we bought these things. And as we were saying, we were praying over the gifts that night before we went to bed. And I did get teary-eyed praying for the mother of that baby, just thinking what would it be like to not be able to give good gifts to your children and not be able to provide for your children. And Giovanni saw my emotion and he went upstairs. He emptied his very small piggy bank and he had a plastic bag full of quarters. and he brought them down and he placed it next to his Santa bag. And he prayed, St. Nicholas, please take this money to that mommy so that she can go buy something for the nursery. And you know, we all have so many moments where we look at our kids and we're like, what am I doing wrong? But that was a moment where I was just like, oh Lord,
yeah,
something's going right. We have been blessed to plant these deep roots of gratitude and a giving, a life of giving in our children. So that was a proud moment.
Yeah, you know, and I think I mean, not all of our kids, but especially Giovanni, like, has this, like, hunger to give way more than he has to receive. Like, he'll stay up anxious all night before one of the other kids' birthdays, like, because he made a gift that he wants to give, and he's just like, I can't wait, and, like,
it's excitement more than anxiety.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just so neat that, like, we can foster that in their hearts that they want to give and they want to give and they want to give, and to see the different ways of giving, right? Like, and we find even educating our own, like, loved ones on this, like, of, like, hey, if you want to give gifts to our kids, instead of buying them something, really the gift that they treasure more than anything is quality time. Can you take them out and
take
like,
them for a
we
walk
want you to
with
take
an
them for a date,
cone.
And that's, like, they live for these ice cream dates, right? Like, or, like, that's way better than another toy, right? Or more clothes. And so being able to really fight for that we would be able to be a family that makes a giving, not a living, or makes that gives good gifts that build people up. Well, another thing on Christmas, we give 3 gifts because Jesus got 3 gifts, so why would anyone get more than Jesus got? And so the idea on Christmas is we pray into what each child should receive, and we use the parable of the talents, right? That we want to give gifts and we want our children to receive gifts based off of their talents, so they can invest in those talents and get even better, right? And so we don't let them go through magazines or, like, make these huge wish lists. Instead, sometimes if they
I shall not want.
Yeah, and so we you know, sometimes they'll, like, let us know, or even pray about, like, God, what gifts would help me become the best version of myself, and then they can share with us what gifts they think are going to make them a better person. And so gift giving is oriented towards growth, right? Yeah. There's so much in this day that I want you, like, mission trips are so good at working with young people on getting their hearts focused, just living this life where we're not living for consumerism. It's so exciting, guys. We want your children to be so just on board with you on this. And so if you have to sit them down, if they're older, maybe you sit them down and say, hey, listen, your mom and I have been doing this retreat, and we want you to know that as your parents, we're always growing, and we expect you to always grow as well as kids. And one of the things that God's been encouraging our hearts in lately is growth in the way we live in material goods. And so share with them what God's doing, make them a part of this retreat with you, and then get family buy-in, that if you need to change your lifestyle, you're going to do it together, and you're going to be the leaders as the parents, that this is about changing the way we live so that others can live better, right? And the last thing I want to say is it's really good if you teach tithing from a young age. Like, so if you're going to give 10% of your income, we should start teaching our children as soon as they make money to start giving 10%. So if they have a high school job or a middle school job, first 10% goes to serve God. And to teach them in this way, like, hey, aren't you so excited to make money? Because the more money you make, the more you get to give. Like, that's awesome. Like, I love getting a raise at work because then I know that 10% that I take off is going to go, right? Or even like, oh, wow, now we make more. We don't have to change our lifestyle. We can give 12% or 15%. And so God's always just giving us more so that we can give more. And I think the ultimate goal would be to give 90%, right?
Wow,
like you make so much money, but you can give so much away.
Yeah, so you want to lead by example, guys, and it doesn't always have to be like a big serious sit down, but use your words carefully. Maybe you're in Target with your daughter, and this happens to me all the time. I might pick up a shirt and admire it and then say, you know what, I actually have enough, and sit it down. You know, so just letting them hear your thought process and say, like, something I say to Sophia all the time is, I can admire beauty without having to possess it. I don't have to own everything beautiful in the world, because you're obviously going to, you know, it's funny because I often say to Dan, like, Sophia, our oldest daughter, she's 10, she feels all the things that I feel. I just don't say everything out loud because I've grown in prudence before she has, right? So don't get judgy and pointy fingers at the kids as they live in this world and they want things and shiny new bicycles and and all the candy bars, there's so many ways to embrace poverty, but just say you can share your testimony in small bits whenever you get the opportunity, not in a naggy way, but in a sherry way, that this is what the Lord is doing in me right now.
Yeah, make it Christocentric. So it always goes back to Jesus is in the poor, or do I'm choosing a simple life for the sake of Christ, right? Like no one chooses poverty for the sake of poverty. That's stupid, right?
Yeah.
We choose poverty for a greater good,
That's right.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, guys, thanks so much. God bless.